Hello and welcome to my latest video on Roman roads. Hot on the heels of my last video which covered Roman roads in the south of Hampshire, this time I'll be covering an area in North Hampshire between the Roman towns at Winchester and Silchester. Of course we already know there is a Roman road between Winchester and Silchester, so what is there that is new to be found? Take a look at Ivan Margary's map and you will notice that there is a kink in the road. This is where the road from the south reaches high ground and makes adjustments where the surveyors can see further. This is a common feature on Roman roads. So far, so straightforward, but there is more detail to be seen. We will start at that kink at a small village called Popham, which is also the site of a deserted medieval village. The known Roman road approaches from the south and makes a turn slightly to the east before continuing towards Silchester. What is new here is that the road splits here, continuing on, not quite straight, but straighter than the known section of the road. We can see it starting out as a field boundary, and then the ag of the road is visible continuing from there with a very well preserved section in woodland next to the modern road. Further to the north there is another well-preserved section of agger in a tiny piece of woodland to the south of North Waltham, before we get to a much longer visible stretch of the road to the north of the village. This section stretches across several fields, and at the northern end we have another well-preserved section of agger in Bull's Bushes Copse. As you can see from this well-preserved section of road, and those we have already seen, there is an agger but no side ditches. One of the functions of side ditches is drainage. Since the geology here is chalk, they may not have felt the need to dig them. Skipping over the town of Oakley, where the road is temporarily lost, we pick it up again crossing more fields, with another well-preserved section of agger in a tiny piece of woodland named Lady Mead Row. We can see why this Roman road has not been spotted before. It's crossing open fields rather than having long sections of modern road and field boundary that follow it. Another thing we don't see is sections of wear. Long periods of Roman road use leads to erosion of sections of the road, so parts of the road appear as cuts instead of agger. Not here though. This road was probably not in use for very long before being abandoned, unlike the other branch to the east, which is followed by the A30. Having said that, we now come across a section of the road where it is preserved by field boundaries and modern roads. It's on a slightly higher piece of land, and on the summit is an earthwork. It's generally understood to be a motte, though it has not been excavated to confirm this. Mottes sited next to Roman roads are not uncommon, so this is not a surprise. But there is another possibility. Such an earthwork on a high point of land next to a Roman road could also be a signal station, where messages are passed as signals along a Roman road via a series of such stations. Of course, it could be a motte reusing the earthwork of a signal station. Further north, the road passes through the village of Ramsdale, with a few sections of agger visible on either side. Finally, with a few well ploughed out sections of agger, we reach the end of the road, where it joins another Roman road, Margary No. 4B, which heads west to Old Sarum and east to Silchester. Looking at the overview, the obvious question is why? Why build two Roman roads that seemingly render each other redundant? It's just odd. It's not that the course of Roman Road 42A that we currently know about is wrong, as there are clear indications of that road north of Basingstoke. Leaving behind the question of why, as I'm unable to answer it, I would like to look at the part of 42A marked in dark blue, because as you can see, there is something equally odd going on there. Heading south from Silchester along Roman Road 42A, there is once again a split in the road. This time this split seems even more redundant, with the new road running parallel to the old one, just to the east of it. This time, however, there is something of note that may provide at least a partial explanation. Even more odd, the branch road seems to rejoin the original road. What is interesting here is two possible branch roads heading east that lead to a set of earthworks in Moorgaston Wood, which we will look at a little closer. What we have here is a rectangular earthwork with rounded corners, a playing card shape. It's undated, but this has the form you would expect for a Roman military camp. It's a common place you would expect to find such an earthwork, protected on two sides by water and next to a Roman road. Given the military engaged in road building when not campaigning, there is at least the means locally to build this short section of parallel Roman road, even if the reason why is not clear. More oddness now. Silchester is known for having a series of Iron Age earthworks surrounding it that constitute a territorial oppidum. These are a substantial bank and ditch system that would have taken considerable effort to produce. This is a subject I've talked about in the last video I did on southern Hampshire. In that video I talked about how there was an interaction between a Roman road and a series of similar earthworks. The same can be seen here. The earthworks are supposed to date from the Iron Age, but the two earthworks indicated by the arrows seem to have been laid out parallel to their adjacent Roman roads. The same can be seen with the new road we looked at. There is another bank and ditch earthwork parallel to that road too, though somewhat more ploughed out. Even more odd, two of those earthworks, marked B and C, are each the same distance from their respective roads. So are they Iron Age or Romano-British? Where would there be a need for defensive earthworks in southern Britain in the Roman period? Well, that was a talk full of oddities. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope to see you next time.